From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buck and Bob take on Chiefs Kingdom and Mel. We're not a podcast that tries to pretend like we know everything. We're just a podcast for fans, by fans, people talking in a bar about a team that they love. That's what we are.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know everything. And I'm Buck.
True.
I'm your co-host that loves to play on Bob's bad takes.
Mm-hmm. I live with Bob, so that's not new to me. I'm Mel, and I am just here to talk about the Chiefs.
Keep us grounded.
Yeah.
And I am Bob, the author of quote-unquote bad takes, but usually the people that get that are the people that are often right, and nobody wants to say that.
I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, we're going to jump in. This is right after the Panthers game. Thought we'd have a nice, relaxing game. Nope. Chiefs always have to play down to their opponent. This is a bad team. I will say the last 3 weeks, they have looked like a fairly decent team, a mediocre team, but still a mediocre team. And yeah, I was not real happy with it going down to the wire like it did. I don't know about you guys.
Listen, I had zero expectation that this would be an easy game, because we just don't do that. We don't do easy games. We don't have easy games. And so I didn't think it would come down to the last second field goal with a brand new kicker. That was a little terrifying. But yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me. Watching that game, I usually try to decide, was it so close because they were so good, our opponent was so good, or was Kansas City just playing less? And this was a really hard game. I'm not sure. Our defensively speaking, I feel like we just didn't play as well, but I don't want to take away from the Panthers because Bryce Young threw some really good balls today, and their receivers made some really good catches. Again, I mean, that's a common theme with this team, but I still feel like the Chiefs their defense just a little bit today.
Well, and I mean, the defense still held down Hubbard, but Bryce Young rushed for 6.7 yards per carry, only 3 times. But Hubbard, who's a really good back, was held to 3.6. So we still looked good there. It just seemed they were able to pass down the field, with pretty much ease. And then we only would get tough when we hit the red zone. And thank God we stopped them so many times in the red zone.
Yeah, I think our red zone D looked really good. And that's one thing that we can kind of take away from that they were still looking good in the red zone D and with the run D. Rushing quarterbacks are a kryptonite. I feel like they always will get some yards on us. I don't know what it is about the pass D. It just felt like there was always somebody wide open. And I'm like, how did that happen? Where did we go wrong in that coverage? Because somebody missed the mark there.
Yeah, and penalties. Oh my God, penalties today.
I think it was offensive, though, mostly, right?
No, we had some defensive penalties. We had that one in the fourth quarter where it allowed them to go down. It was 1st and goal on the 1 because of that pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, I really hate to blame things on the refs, but the penalties seemed way, way lopsided today in the Panthers' favor.
Almost like, and
they weren't.
I don't know the name of this crew and the main guy, but I have known that I have not liked his officiating in the past many times. I think he doesn't play a fair game, and I wonder if, refs sometimes try to correct because the vocal minority are saying that the Chiefs get helped out by the refs, and they're specifically watching the Chiefs more. I'm not saying that they're trying to, they're trying to cheat or trying to make the Chiefs lose or anything like that. I'm just saying in the back of their mind, they're thinking everybody says that we get help from the refs, so they're watching us intently. Because, I mean, in the second quarter...
Well, hold on. Before you go into the specific penalties, I do just want to clear up. we had 10 penalties and they had 9 called against them. So it's not that it was so lopsided that.
Look at the yardage difference.
Yeah, 91 yards for us and 53 for them, for sure. I think, though.
Well, it was lopsided in the sense that I saw a ton of penalties on, like, they should have had 17 penalties.
Yeah, and I'm sure we should have had 25. You know, like.
No, I don't think so. I'll call it like it is. I mean, we definitely had some that were penalties, but, you know, I could go into the specifics, but I'll probably just go as we go through the game. You know, we're just kind of talking about the overall
Before you
stuff.
start on the specifics, I have a point. You said the vocal minority is talking about how the Chiefs have the advantage with the refs, right? And I don't think it's the vocal minority at this point. I mean, everybody, every Facebook post that is not a Chiefs fan is saying, oh, y'all don't have the refs on your side again. I don't think it's a minority. I think most NFL fans that are not Chiefs fans hate the Chiefs and think that the Chiefs get all the calls. And I think it's a vocal majority. I just think you're underselling it a little bit.
Really?
I do.
Well,
yeah.
The internet has shown us that there's a lot of dumb people on this earth, but it's really depressing when you actually start reading some of the comments, and especially the fact that they can't even write like legibly either. It's really concerning. But I say the vocal minority is because I feel that there's always a vocal minority in everything you do, because these are the people that just have the balls to talk. Usually the people with less intelligence have more balls to talk. Yes. Also. I mean, ignorance is bliss, and these guys really think that they're smart.
But see, I don't even think it's that. I think it's the day and age of clips and TikTok and shorts, and what everybody who's not watching the full Chiefs games, because they're watching their team play and they're watching highlights and things like that, what they're seeing on the internet is the bad calls. That's all they're seeing. So to them, it is so obvious, because their pool of data that they're pulling from is showing them that the Chiefs get away with murder every week.
But what they're not doing is they're not making a tape like that for the 49ers. They're not making a tape like that for the Giants. They're not making a tape like that for the Dolphins, because nobody cares about those teams. It's all about the Chiefs.
Correct. But I think that's where you go from minority to majority, is because
everybody's
the minority makes those clips, the majority sees those clips, and then all of a sudden everybody's on that same page.
Well, and that's just going to be the way it is. That's everybody talking about Mahomes, struggling. Mahomes is going to have this problem in his career until the Chiefs slow down. Everybody is going to over prepare for Mahomes, period. And so there's benefits also, as well as weaknesses, to being this popular. Being this popular, refs watch us more. Being this popular, people hate on us more for no good reason, except for the fact that there was good reason to hate the Patriots. They cheated a bunch. Mm-hmm. But the Chiefs is one of the most storied, best franchises and ownership groups that the entire league has to offer. And some of the best, nicest, Patrick Mahomes might be the nicest dude in the NFL. Maybe not in the NFL, but probably the nicest quarterback. But people just hate on him because they win. But the benefits that we see from that is the kicker we had today that did well.
Did really well.
Could have got a starting job. Jets offered it to him to not leave. Offered him a 53-man roster and said, we'll just let you start. We'll let you start. And he said, no, I'm going to go for 4 weeks to the Chiefs to, see what that organization is like, and, see, what the special sauce is there. We heard him talking, after the game. Yep.
He had a really good interview, man.
Yeah. He did. It was impressive.
Yeah. He wasn't nervous. He was well thought he had showed some charisma in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was well dressed.
That's also, what's it? DJ Hutchinson. Is that how you say his name? The left tackle we just picked up Friday.
Sure.
Well, it's the former 2015 first round pick, and he's been in Pro Bowls. He just got off an ACL injury, and I mean, he came straight to us, period. You know, those are the type of benefits we get for being the type of team. But the haters are going to hate because hating's easier than understanding.
I also think that good players see what we do with players that didn't succeed in other places, right? And they're like, man, if they can make Juju look like that, what can they make me look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think
it's the same thing Patriots have.
McCole Hardman was nothing on the Jets. They couldn't get anything out of him.
Yeah.
And he caught the Super Bowl winning touchdown.
Yep.
And look what he does, you know, today. He's done this for weeks. He's running harder. He's finding better angles. He looks so strong.
Yeah. And it's not very often.
Is so underrated.
It's not very often, but it's key plays where we really need him. And he comes and gives us a change of pace for one way or another, right? Whether it's a, you know, end around or a slant pass or something like that. Like he pulls something out. And I think that, he
did make
underrated.
one mistake today on the punt return where he thought he was going to make something out of clearly nothing and lost 10, 12 yards. But that's not the common play for him, the average play for him. That was one slip up in, I mean, I can't remember the last time I thought, damn it, McCole, you know?
Right.
Yep. And it's crazy. He didn't even have a catch today, but he's an unsung hero that, you know, we kind of, take for granted, I think, as Chiefs fans.
But I feel like we've got those players with like Hardman and Pirine and Steele and all of these players that are just grateful to be on the team, that they're going to give it 100% even when they only get 2 plays a game or 3 plays a game, right? And they're not looking to go somewhere else where they can get 25 plays a game right now. And they might, but...
Speaking of Pirine and Steele... I think they both came out and started the game with some really strong showings, and then they were gone. Like they just didn't really. I mean, Pirine was in there a few times, but Steele, he had a really good run, and did he have a catch too?
It was in the first quarter.
Yeah, he did have a catch, and he broke a tackle, I believe, on both plays, or at least fell forward for several yards on both of them. And it's like, I see that kind of growth and that kind of effort, and I just want to see a little bit more, especially when the offense seemed to struggle a lot, especially in the second half.
I think we're still probably a little hesitant on giving Steele too many carries, because the more you give him, the closer he comes to his next fumble. And
he touched the ball 3 times today.
Well, all right.
We could have given him 5.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows what happens on that 5th one? I'm just saying.
Well, maybe next week we'll see 4.
Yeah.
And they'll just keep upping it
Slowly
every week until they find the fumble point. And then they're like, all right, there it is.
Well, I mean, with Pacheco coming back, how much action do we actually think Steele will see, right? I think he'll see some, maybe about the same amount that he's seen right now, probably.
I think he's making progress, and I don't want that progress to regress. So... I don't know. I just maybe work him into the passing game a little bit. I mean, he's catching the ball.
He's running fullback and he's running special teams and he's doing that well. It's okay for him to just stay there for a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we saw Pirine more on special teams early on in the game, and then we saw him.
That return was
The
amazing.
first return of the game, Pirine really came out big for us.
And if he would have known that guy was behind him, that would have been an easy high step. And
a little tripped up.
He probably wouldn't have made it all the way, but he definitely had another 10 or 15 yards.
Yep.
But still, just with what it did happen was amazing.
The momentum that gave us. And towards the end of the game, and I know this for a fact because he's on my fantasy team, so he had a big fat 0 for a really long time. And then towards the end of the game, they got him involved a little bit more, but he's great. I have no complaints about.
He's been solid when he's been called upon, especially in the passing game. He did get a few running plays though today. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah,
just one, I guess.
Looked good.
Felt like 2 or 3, but got 13 yards.
Yep. His catches were like in the backfield a lot of times too, so they kind of felt like runs.
He tends to be the check down guy a lot, but he's effective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go here. This will bring us on other topics, but let's just kind of go through at least, let's start first quarter and just kind of run through our notes. You guys can jump in as you want to, but First note is great fast start for Noah Gray. That was great. It was good to see
again.
Yeah, but after last week, I wanted to see a fast start. I didn't want to see a second play of the game interception by Mahomes, on the road, getting the crowd in it, and then coming shortly after, Kelsey gets a catch and gets yards after the catch.
Yes, he did.
How long's it been since you guys saw that?
Well, it was some good blocking, and then the first guy that touched him tackled him. But he did kind of set up that blocking with his route running after he caught the ball. So, I mean, he still got it up here.
And jives.
Yeah, just less in the knees and legs, but that's okay. He's still dependable.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think we started off really strong. I think Gray had his second 2 TD game in a row, which is really awesome.
We're not there yet.
Well, one thing I want to say is that I think it's interesting that Gray is running routes that Kelsey was running, and Kelsey's running the distraction routes at this point.
Yeah.
I think that's telling of kind of, not that Kelsey can't do it right now, but let's get Gray more involved. And Kelsey, save yourself for when we really need you.
Like last year.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it up.
Yeah, I'm still forming my opinion on what's going on with Kelsey. I can't decide on if he's told the coaching staffs, hey, I got a lot going on. I got one of the most popular podcasts on earth right now. I'm dating the most popular woman in the world right now. I'm getting acting gigs. I might just go ahead and save my body and hang up, before, I hit all the milestones and push myself to the edge like, the two guys in front of me have done. I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know. I tend to doubt it too, but I'm not writing it off, so
I think if something like that happened, I think it's more along because if they hear that, I think they're done with him. If he's saying that I'm not 100% in this game, I think they're done with Kelsey. I do.
Oh, I don't think but I don't think he's saying that. You're misunderstanding me. I'm saying if he was thinking about ending and this being his last year, they would be, kind of moving him out, and like he'd be okay with that. But no, I'm not. I don't think he would be giving anything less than 100% in the games that he stays in. Like, I don't think that at all.
But I think that he maybe went to the team and said, look, my best days are behind me, but I'm still 100% in this right now. I think we have something special in Noah Gray, and I am 1,000% down with giving him the leadership role, maybe in the tight end route, maybe not the leadership role, but the more attention on the field, give him some of the better routes, maybe help develop him for when I'm gone. And I can kind of conserve this body for a little bit longer and play with this amazing group of guys a few more years. I think it's more of a longevity thing,
I do too.
And Kelsey's the only one that could actually make that happen because Kelsey's chosen to be severely underpaid, and I think extremely smart by him. I mean, he's done stuff off the field all the time.
He did okay,
decent-ish,
but
I mean, he could.
But that was an investment.
Yeah,
I mean, that allowed him to get this springboard to do all these other things.
Sure.
Last year, he could have been like he could have demanded top 10 wide receiver money, so he'd be like the 9th highest paid receiver, not just tight end, like receiver.
But I think he's the top paid tight end.
I don't know that he is. I'm not sure about that.
I'm so
tell us in
uninformed
the comments. We would love to hear it. Mel's going to check it out though, but you guys always leave the comments before the episode's over. So leave it in the comments, please. Comments. Steele looked good, fighting hard. But then towards the end of the first quarters when, those middle of the field plays started happening, and Adam Thielen started it off with a huge play towards the end of the first quarter.
It is Travis Kelce at $17.1 million.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. TJ Hawkinson is at $16 million, and George Kittle's at $15.3 million.
Wow. Well, see, and those guys don't even have close to what Kelce had like last year and the year before. Many were saying Kelce could be paid as if he were a wide receiver, similar to how our center is paid guard money rather than center money. Like he's
Sure.
like he's the highest paid center by a metric, like by a freaking mile.
But I
You
think,
can say metric mile.
Yeah.
well, you know,
By an English kilometer.
Well, let's go into the second quarter, but
Take a break.
Jobu needs a refill, so timeout. All right, guys. Just to let you know, we're going to be doing live shows on Monday nights. They're going to be an extra show that we're doing where we'll talk about Monday Night Football as well as Chiefs storylines and storylines around the league. We'll talk to different guests probably. It's going to be a different show than we normally do, but it's going to be a cool live show. And you guys can get involved and come meet us, come hang out, come be part of the show. It's going to be at the Sports Pub and Pizzeria in Lenexa, Kansas. It is inside the
All-American Indoor Sports Complex.
Yeah.
8875 Rose Hill Road. They got a ton of TVs to watch the game. They've got pizza, some of the best pizza in the city.
Oh yeah, the
But
pizza's good.
Really good.
I'm kind of partial to the wings myself. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yep, it's going to be fun, and there's all kinds of cool stuff there. You can watch the games. Monday nights is the ladies' league, and
They got soccer.
Yeah, they're playing soccer on either side of the bar with windows that show down below. There's arcade games for the kids. There's all kinds of cool stuff there. So we'd love you to come out and hang out, support us.
Come stop by, say hi.
Yes,
Please.
help us grow. That's the it's at 8875 Rose Hill Road, Lenexa, Kansas 66215, and that's the Sports Pub and Pizzeria.
It's really close to 87th and Quivira for those that are familiar with the area.
We'll see you there Monday nights.
Can't wait.
And we're back from timeout. All right. Well, guys, second quarter. Boy, I've got some stuff to say here.
I wonder if we're going to talk about referees at all.
Yeah. This is where I think some of the biggest officiating stuff was just absurd. So we're driving down the field. We get to the red zone, and there was a blatant pass interference on Hopkins. It was a no call. And I say blatant because I literally watched the same exact call happen 2 times later on in the game. You know, like
I think there was a little bit of a difference as to when the defender was going for the ball versus the calls that were made later. So
I believe that was the one we were talking about later in the game. But
Are you talking about the one where he got his head turned around and the one?
no, I'm talking about the one at second quarter that started off the flag every down for a good 7 plays fiasco. This was definitely a pass interference on Hopkins. Dude never turned around, was messing with his arms way before the ball got there. If that would have been called, boom, 1st and 10 on the 1 yard line, which they got one of those later on in the game, might add you. Looked exactly like this, but yeah, no call. Then it just turned into Flag City and
There
flags
was
on
one
both
play-
sides just going back and forth. It was the stupidest thing I've seen.
there was one play where there was literally 4 offsetting penalties. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, 2 on each side.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, we've reached our limit here.
I hate the offsetting penalty because
Oh, me
it is an
too.
advantage for the offense, always. And I know that helped us a couple of times this game, but I absolutely hate that. If you want to make it penalties on both teams, then take the penalty yardage
Yes.
of both penalties and combine it. If they're both 10-yard penalties and they offset, cool.
Sure.
Then
Or
redo
just
the play.
the first penalty that happened.
No.
Like on timeline wise.
But I think there's things
Butterfly
like,
effect. You don't know if the second penalty would have even happened. So I don't disagree with you there.
but like roughing the passer or unsportsmanlike conduct or things like that, when those get offset by like a 5-yard holding penalty or something, I'm like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Grinds my gears.
yeah, same.
Yeah, and just, dude, flags. That was absurd. Like, it was
It was crazy.
weird.
And it was
I'm
on both
still
sides.
pissed off about the Hopkins.
It was on both sides,
call.
but it definitely felt weighted. It definitely felt
Well, I think because
weighted.
we were on offense, right? And so it was all the ones that impacted us were on us. And I think most of the ones that were on them were offsetting.
You have to understand. Man, I hate blaming anything on the refs. I think that's loser talk. I hate it. But man,
definitely loser
I have
talk.
not felt like the refs were trying to keep a team in the game so much as I did today.
Yeah, just kept pushing us back. I mean, it was crazy. And just like what I'm saying, if that PI had actually been called on, for Hopkins, I mean, we would have been on the 1 yard line. Kareem Hunt would have been in the end zone. That whole sequence of events would have never happened. I mean, and we were one of the most least penalized teams, going into the game. And now I think we're probably like number 5 or something, or we've definitely moved up the last two games. It's almost like they're setting a precedent to watch the Chiefs more. And that's what I talked about at the start of the episode. But getting over it, there was a weird Kelsey interaction. Kelsey gets a ball thrown a little outside of him to the right during second quarter, and it hits him in the hands and he drops it. But he does have to reach out a bit for it. But then what happens after that was so weird for me. He looks back at Patrick Mahomes and he's like, "What the hell?" And that's just not something I'm used to seeing from Kelsey. And
I missed that.
Yeah, I definitely missed that.
Like he literally was kind of bitching at him. That's what I saw. And I'm starting to possibly start believing these rumors of political allegiances, like causing a little bit of turmoil between Kelsey and Mahomes, because we don't know about Mahomes' politics, but we know his wife, liked a lot of Trump's posts, on X. And so she kind of got attacked by the Democrat mob, before the election. So you would kind of think that,
There's no
Patrick
way.
might be on the...
it.
What?
Man, I just don't believe that at all, that there's any kind of political angst between the two of them
Well,
that's causing a rift.
I mean, Taylor Swift... I don't know that it would be Kelsey even, because if you listen to Jason Kelsey, you're almost like, well, I think Jason's probably on the same side as Patrick Mahomes' wife. But if you Taylor Swift was huge for Kamala. I hate to bring politics into it, but it could be something that's caused a little bit of a rift between them, because maybe Taylor's
Swift,
I'm not hanging out with, I think it's dumb. I think it's fine to be able to hang out with people on the opposite political side, but there's a lot of people that are
little
crazies.
of my life is politically based, so I just don't care about that thing.
Also, I think Taylor's just
you should be able to
anti-Trump
talk about it.
Yeah,
I think Taylor's just anti-Trump,
but
not necessarily
Travis is going to let his girlfriend dictate his feelings towards any of his friends. I will give up that. Sure, that could happen. That does exist. In my world, I don't ever see any of that, because I hate politics so much. So I tend to surround myself with people that, even though they feel passionate about politics, they don't preach it a lot, so I don't have to hear it. But so maybe I kind of have a blind eye to that, but I just don't see Travis Kelce, even if he completely agrees with his girlfriend 100%, I don't see him as the type of person that will let her dictate his feelings about his friends. That's just not the kind of guy he is. And you know what? That's not the kind of guy that she wants.
Yeah.
She wants a strong man that will stand up for what he believes in.
Think so.
And that's why I think that
I think
he's...
that's why it's working out.
Right.
For
Yeah,
I think
agree.
Travis is football in and out, right? That's why I think it's absurd to think that he's like, oh, I've got so many of these other opportunities, I'm going to be done sooner rather than later, right? That's why I think that's absurd, is because I do feel like he is so football minded and he wants to play football and he wants to win, and he gets mad at himself when he doesn't do well. And I think it was uncharacteristic drop from Travis. I didn't see the interaction afterwards.
No, but I will say what I did notice, though, is when he does make a rare miss like that, he will get mad at himself. He'll hit the ground. He'll knock on his helmet a little bit or something. I didn't see any of that after that play either.
I saw him just throw up his hands and look back at Mahomes and be like, what? Like,
so
mouth,
maybe
what the fuck?
Maybe he did, think that was on Mahomes, and maybe it was, but that ball was
very weird for Kelsey to ever do anything like that.
I disagree. It is not weird for Kelsey to do that.
Mahomes?
We saw Kelsey go yell at Andy Reid one game. Like, Kelsey is a hothead, and you have to remember that when he's in the game, he's like hothead and like riled up, right? He's got a lot of pressure on him right now because he hasn't been playing as well, and there's a lot of eyes on him. And I think if he thought that he was in the right spot and the ball went 5 yards to the other way, I think his emotions could have taken over. That's Kelsey.
That's a good point.
Okay,
that's a good point.
You know what? My friends are right. You were a great addition to this show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's why I brought her on.
Yep.
That's why I brought her on. Strong female presence is always something I've always tried to add to all of my podcasts. I've brought her into a lot of my podcasts. And she's Carrie. Don't tell her that though.
Well, I think she knows.
So it was just a thought I thought I would throw it out there. I don't believe it, really. It's just kind of a thought that I had, and it could be something
that's out there, or is it a thought that you had that only you've kind of mulled over
I
a little bit? Or
Brittany Mahomes has been crucified by the left on social media for liking a post that Trump posted. I know that for a fact. I know The View has shit on her. The View.
Well, but you know what? At least it's not for her.
But what I'm saying,
spraying champagne on the
bottom
of the
true. But okay, so on top of that, we haven't seen pictures of her of Brittany Mahomes with Taylor Swift in the box since. We haven't seen any of that. So
Taylor hasn't been to a ton of games though, just a couple home games recently. Yeah. I mean, she was on tour.
I know. I'm just saying we haven't seen it.
You're right. We definitely have not seen before in a while.
So
I don't know about the timing. I just have to believe you on that.
So I don't know. I know that the left has been definitely on top of Taylor, hardcore, saying she should have done more to help Kamala win. I know that for a fact.
That's not her job.
I know. The View called her out. And I was like, dude, celebrities are supposed to be our court jesters. They are not somebody to take political advice from, no matter what side of the fence you're on. But I mean, they have millions of dollars. They don't deal with the same things that everybody else does. But I'm not very political, and I'm an independent, and I've voted both ways at different times. So I'm not really have a dog in the race, and I don't ever get mad at people when their view is different from mine.
Should we talk about religion for a little while?
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying some people do, and I don't know. It's interesting to see that. I don't know if it's a thing, but yeah, let's just go past it.
Yeah, let's move on.
So, end of the second quarter, our defense just breaks down.
Yeah.
With 45 seconds left, we score, and then with 45 seconds left, we let them just go down the field. Yes, we did hold them to a field goal, or did we hold them to a field goal? I'm pretty sure we did.
Going into the half, because it was 20-9.
Yeah. We held them to a field goal, but still, just our defense completely breaking down and not being able to do shit until we get to the red zone is just crazy.
Are you talking in the second quarter?
At the end of this second quarter, yeah. We scored. There was 45 seconds left. We kicked the ball back to them, and they're able to bring the ball down the field, and I just don't get that. I mean, we should have been able to make a stop. I mean, there was only how many punts were there? There was only
two.
I
think there were 2 punts.
2 punts the entire
one
game?
by each side. Yeah.
So there was 4. There was 4 punts.
All towards the end of the game, though.
Yeah. 2 of them, our first punt was in the fourth quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
And their first punt was in the second quarter.
Oh, was it the second quarter?
Yep, sure enough.
Oh, okay.
Sure enough.
But, I mean, we were holding people down, and I don't understand why we're all of a sudden letting people go now.
You know what's interesting is.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking because I was like, maybe the defense was tired. It was the end of the second quarter, but we owned them on time of possession in the second quarter. We had it for almost 12 minutes and they had it for a little over 3 minutes. So really, in the second quarter, the defense was not on the field very much. And so that's
the impression that they had on us with 3 minutes on the field.
Yeah.
The impression was that we could not make a stop. That's saying something. And
but they got 2 field goals
now like that.
Here, maybe I'm reading this wrong because when I look at this ball possession, is this line show me like second quarter?
Yeah, ball possession. The 4 quarters are separated out by lines.
Yeah, but how come here it shows me
like what scoring number on the left are you talking about?
So like here, right here,
yeah, that's
it says
quarter.
Time of possession. Second quarter, I would say, would be these 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then down here, it says time of possession by quarter. Second quarter, it shows Carolina with only 3 minutes, which is less than what it shows.
Probably because when a quarter, like they'll get possession at like the 12-minute mark or whatever in the first quarter, and then that drive carries on into the second quarter. So that drive, they may have had, 5 minutes. But in that quarter, that it was only 3 minutes of that drive was in that quarter. That's probably my guess.
Well, and part of the second quarter, part of us holding on to the ball for so long was literally umpteen billion penalties called while we were
yeah, that's fair.
I think we were eventually pushed out of the red zone at some point with the penalties when we were deep in the red zone on that stupid setup. So I don't know, but yeah, it was rough. And then,
we did hold them to a field goal though. Like I know that they got down there, they, we felt like it was unbearable, right? But they got down there and we did hold them to a field goal. So I think our defense is showing signs of something happening and things going on. But I do still think we're still pretty good at shutting down when we need to.
Adam Thielen was wide open on 3 or 4 of those catches today.
Correct.
Like Adam Thielen, he's not Hall of Fame guy, but he's Pro Bowl type guy. The one guy
you should cover.
Right. And he's been that way for a long time. He's never been a speed guy. He's always been a possession guy, right?
Yeah.
So and those guys tend to last longer than speed guys because, their gifts aren't as depleting as speed. Speed falls off in your early 30s. So for them to just kind of, he'll be all right over there. I'm going to concentrate on this guy. I feel like somebody's missing some assignments at some point. I don't know if it's a communication thing, like right before the snap on the field, or if it's a play call on Spag's part. I wish I knew more.
Sure.
Like kind of what's happening there, but it's been happening a lot the last
I think we're really seeing the deficit in our secondary with just McDuffie. I think McDuffie is trying to do too much when it's his target. And you saw that a couple times. He had at least one pass interference call. And I think he feels like when it comes to him, he better shut that down because if it goes anywhere else, they might not. And I think that's hurting us. I think we see like Cook and Johnson, Nazir Johnson, like they have their moments, but they're not consistent.
Well, and you have to remember, McDuffie looked amazing last year, but Snead was locking down the number 1 corner on every team.
Yes.
And so McDuffie looked like a madman, and McDuffie actually got all the accolades, and I'm sorry, Snead's better. I won't
argue that. I won't argue that at all. But my thing about McDuffie is you haven't, at least I haven't noticed, he's not getting burned. He's not leaving guys wide open. He's not missing assignments. He's there. A lot of the catches, especially since the Raiders game. The Raiders game is when I really started to notice these teams are making catches that are outside. Gardner Minshew should not be making these kinds of throws and these receivers making these kinds of catches. And I think that's what's been happening. I don't blame that on McDuffie. He's been in position to make the play, and it's just going the other way because the receiver is making a fantastic catch. I don't think it's
so many fantastic
catches. And so I don't think McDuffie is slacking. He's been in position. They're just making awesome catches, and I think that's what we got to expect. All over the NFL, every team is building their team to beat the Chiefs. That is the goal.
Sure. But what she's saying is that we're definitely seeing she's fine with McDuffie's play. She's saying
I agree.
Everybody else is dropping the ball here.
Yes,
and I think that is true. And
that we're can't last forever.
We're seeing them just take a penalty rather than actually defend the football. And there were definitely penalties, pass interference, and holding penalties on the Chiefs tonight that were legit. I was just saying, they're no calling a ton of stuff on the Panthers tonight. Yeah. That's the rough part. But I will tell you, in the third quarter, I don't have much for the third quarter except for, dude, the unnecessary roughness call on Reed on the 2-point conversion was bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
One of the most bullshitty plays I've seen all year.
Yeah.
That was a great defense, great hit. Reed is a great player. He played
his head out of the way.
He moved his head out of the way,
to hit him with his shoulder.
Literally, I thought initially when I saw it, I was like, ew, maybe it was led with the helmet, right? And then you saw it from a different angle, and you're like, nope, that was perfect.
Absolute trash.
Yep. Dude, I'm telling you, the officiating crew we had tonight and the main guy, they're just bad.
I love your next note, ref wow bad.
Yeah. Just wow.
Just simplify it as much as you can. That's
unreal.
Ref wow bad. Yeah.
But it looked like we were starting to take control, and then we go into the fourth quarter and
one thing I think that we haven't talked about much is Mahomes, and I think he had moments that were really Mahomes-like tonight, which was great, right? I think he had a couple, and I don't know what quarter they were in, but he had a couple passes where, the one to Hopkins in the end zone where he scrambled and then threw a bullet to Hopkins in the end zone. Yeah. And he had...
That was a scramble. That wasn't a designed play.
Right. But I think that's what we want to see from him, right? Is that he can still do that. But I will say, in the third and fourth quarter, I felt like we saw him just get sacked over and over again.
That's the fourth quarter. I was going to say he was sacked a bunch.
I feel like he was starting to distrust his line a little bit more. So he was scrambling quicker. I feel like he was starting to get some PTSD from all his bad interceptions this year, and he didn't want to throw one and really screw the game.
Yeah.
So they're taking big sacks, and that was really tough to watch because that's not what I expect from Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
When he's under prpressure, he makes plays, and
there was a couple where it was okay, there was literally nowhere for him to go. I mean, the pocket collapsed, and there was people behind him, people in front of him, people to the right and left of him. There was nowhere for him to go. But that was 20% of the times, right? The other times I felt like it was either nobody was open, and I can't see the entire field when we're watching the game. So either nobody was open, or again, he's just running for his life and he can't find a way to get it to somebody, or he's hesitating, or he doesn't trust them. And I don't know. I am not putting all my eggs in the basket of the left tackle because I felt like the right tackle looked horrible tonight too, if not worse. But
help is on the way.
Maybe.
I mean, it can't be worse. I mean, Wanya Morris has been decidedly better than Kingsley Suamataia.
Yes.
But he was definitely soft at times tonight and soft at times during most games. So I don't feel like it could get worse. If at worst it can be the same, it can only really get better. I feel, especially from a guy that's made Pro Bowl. He's been a first-round draft pick. I mean, unless he's just fallen off a cliff career-wise, I mean, that can only be an upgrade, which will help everybody on the offensive line. It's not just that one position. You know, they work as a unit. They have to stay in position together. And when one guy breaks down, another guy has to move over to help, and the whole thing goes crazy. So I think just bringing somebody with a lot more experience and success can only help.
Yep, and
it's just how long will it take him to integrate into this offense?
Yeah,
and that's
something
we don't
here.
know. You know, we thought maybe we'd see him in this game, but you know, he got signed Friday. Yeah. So
5 sacks though. Mahomes took 5 sacks.
Big sacks too.
Yeah,
big sacks.
Yeah, I mean, we were at.
I say big sacks. He didn't get hit really hard. None of them were really like knocking him on the back of his head, concussion type things. He knew it was coming, so he kind of
43 yards.
Most of them, yeah, a lot. I mean, big sacks, yardage wise, big chunks.
He got hit 8 times too.
Yeah, and I mean. We only had 2 sacks, and I will say that one of the bright spots of Carolina is their offensive line. But I mean, come on, man, this is a bad team on paper, and I know they've come up a bit, but geez, man, we
did get 7 quarterback hits though, which is an improvement from what we had been doing.
I think we need to.
They got 8 though.
We need to give credit to Bryce Young though. He really did well under pressure tonight. There were a lot of times when he had to get rid of that ball, and he made a good throw.
He looked poised,
an open-ish receiver.
Yep.
He looked poised. He looked smart.
Yep.
He looked ready. So I don't want to take anything away from him. Yes, they look bad on paper, but he played well tonight. And that team played pretty decent tonight.
They did.
I mean, they did enough to take us to overtime. So
yeah.
No, they didn't take us to overtime.
Oh, no,
Almost
that's right.
to overtime.
Yeah. Almost went to overtime. They took it down to the last play of the game.
Yep.
So great game, Panthers, but good God, man. And Mahomes got 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So that's a huge positive note also.
Yep.
Would you rather Mahomes throw 2 interceptions, but play like the Mahomes of the past?
If that 2 interceptions equals 2 more touchdowns, sure.
Right.
Absolutely. But that's not what we've been seeing all year. We've been seeing 50-50, you know?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. I just feel like he's sometimes so worried about throwing the interception at this point that he's not taking chances anymore.
Though, I do have to. Yeah, I feel like he was scared at the end of the game. I'll give you guys that, but I will have to say the last 5 games he's playing as good as any quarterback in the league. Period. I mean, if you look at the stats from just the last 5 games, he's playing lights out.
I'm just not used to him playing as good as any quarterback in the league. I'm used to him playing as Superman compared to the Robins in the league. You know what I mean? Like,
he's still clutch. Though.
I know.
I mean, we're 10-1.
Marvel.
I mean, he's still clutch.
Yep.
When it comes down
100%.
to it, he gets it down. He gets it done. Aiden, what's that? 91% of the time, we're 10-1. I mean, So,
I mean,
still Patrick Mahomes.
For the people that say, "Oh, you're whining, but you're 10-1," no, we're not whining. We're talking about how the team can get better. Once you think you aren't going to get better, you've lost the game, bro.
Yep.
Once you think you know everything, you've lost the game.
Listen,
you're
if
always
we were
striving
blowing
to be better.
people out, we probably have not much to say on this podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh no, I would still have stuff to say.
I mean, I would.
It's
too.
always about getting better. Period.
Yes.
And anybody who doesn't get that, they're fine. They're this, dude. Shut up. Like, are you just happy doing the same exact thing in your life and never improving at your job?
Some people
Shut
are.
up. Yeah. And to those people, you guys will never have great success in your life.
Yep. But all in all, Chiefs victory. We're going into week 12? No, week 13, 10-1. So, but it is Raiders week, right? Yeah.
Raiders week next week, and a weird game.
So they're going to play up.
We got a short week. It's a Friday game. It's at 2:00. It's the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. So
it's going to make for another busy week.
Be an interesting. I
wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, but all in all, I mean, we're having a great season. I just want to make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before we get to playoffs, and I'm excited to see we got people coming back. It's going to really invigorate the team. We got the new linemen. I mean, things could drastically change soon, but if we don't, get it together, then I think the Lions are going to beat us in the Super Bowl if we make it, so.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get past the Bills and the Ravens, I feel like. they're no joke. And the Steelers, we haven't played them yet, so
I think the Lions are going to choke in the playoffs in one of the first rounds,
They might.
Yep, I think that's going to happen.
Maybe.
Sorry for all the listeners that are Lions fans.
But I think the Lions
I feel like you have a vested interest in wanting them to choke.
A little bit of an interest in wanting them to choke, but not a lot because,
Yeah, I'd love for you to be right, but I don't think they're going to choke. I think they're going to do really good.
They're playing so well right now.
All right, well,
hashtag a little jealous.
Any last thoughts?
I cannot wait to go get some wings from Sports Pub and Pizzeria.
Yep, in Lenexa, Kansas. Monday nights, live show from Buck and Bob. Mel will be there.
8875 Rose Hill Road inside the All-American Sports Complex. It's gonna be a blast.
Time.
Come and see us.
Yeah.
Yeah, good food, good times, good people. I think
live soccer. Gonna be fun.
Yeah. All right, Mel, where can we find you?
Apparently at the pizzeria on Mondays.
Okay. Buck, where can we find you?
You can also find me at the pizzeria
What?
on Mondays. You can find me us together on Facebook, or you can find me at Twitter. It's at Buck_tastic. That's BUK_TASTIK. There's no C's in there.
And you can find all of us, all of our links, everything at buckandbob.com. That's BUKNBOB.com. And you can find our, Facebook link, our iTunes link, Spotify link, YouTube link, TikTok link, everything. You can find it all there. You can find me personally on X at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. We'll see you guys for the next episode where we talk about what we got to do to beat the Raiders.
Don't forget to call into our voicemail line, too. Yeah. That's 816-866-1066. We love to play those voicemails.
Yeah, please
tell them
it.
how much you love Mel.
That's okay, yeah.
Just throw that in there.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
Bookandbob.com.
And Mel.
Bye.